and thank you so much for joining us this morning. You're very welcome to the show. This is Financial Markets, and you're watching Smart 24 TV, and we do drive your business. My name is Anthony. Remember to follow me on Twitter at Anthony Sabali and Smart 24 TV at Smart 24 TV. This is a show where we bring you the latest in the world of trading on, of course, the financial markets, global, regional, as well as domestic markets, and we bring you all the updates as they unfold from the different markets, especially the stock market and the bond market here. The unit trusts as well, we look at them critically and get to let you know what the fund managers are up to, depending on, of course, the season and the time. Now, of course, OTEX East Africa is your number one private stock exchange and proudly brings you financial markets. OTEX East Africa is situated in Uganda, but operates in different parts of East Africa. You can now buy treasury bonds under the OTEX East Africa ZABU initiative. In this initiative, you can dial *292# and be able to buy or sell treasury bonds across East Africa, from Kenya, Uganda to Tanzania. They offer you the leverage of course, getting to buy these bonds using mobile money, which is something we haven't seen on the market so far. You can transfer funds off your mobile money wallet onto OTEX East Africa platform and be able to buy those treasury bonds. And even when you're selling, you will receive that money as mobile money. Remember, this is secondary market activity where we are actually looking at trading after the primary market. OTEX East Africa is is actually regulated by the Capital Markets Authority of Uganda. Of course, let's get down to the day's trading. Today being a Wednesday, of course, we are getting to analyze and see what happened yesterday on Tuesday, and get to look ahead of the Wednesday trading as well, and give you some insights on what's happening on the stock market here in Uganda as well as within the region. On the Uganda Securities Exchange, there was a slight decline in the all-share index, and this was definitely due to the number of participants here going up to 5, yet having over 6 losers on the market. On aggregate, we had 5 equities participating in trading, including MTN Uganda, who gave us the biggest volume for the day at the Uganda Securities Exchange. We did have as well UCL coming on board on the third day of trading with over 12,297 shares. UCL here, I'm talking about the Uganda Clays Limited Company. Umeme as well did record over 2,600 shares on the stock market here at the Uganda Securities Exchange, and DFCU Bank as well coming at 2,133. A little decline in the volume, but market participation wise, yes, we had more participants. 5 out of the 18 listings on the Uganda Stock Exchange. Now, at the end of the day's trading, we had a total of over 1.4 million shares, with MTN taking the lion's share, about 1.44 million shares that were actually traded on MTN, and a couple of others that were actually traded on the other stocks. Currently, we are looking at 2 gainers on the market, and that is Equity Bank Limited, who appreciated by 0.61% on the day's day trading, and East African Breweries Limited appreciating by 0.11% as well. On the losing side, however, we had Centum Investments losing over 3.03% there on shareholders' value of stock on every stock on the company, down to 247.11 Ugandan shillings. Jubilee Holdings Limited as well lost over 2.72%, down to 5,777.85. And Nation Media Group lost over 2.34% and comes in at 463.71 Ugandan shillings. And KCB Group lost 1.11%, down to 1,146.68 Ugandan shillings. Kenya Airways lost over 0.47%, down to 113.48 Ugandan shillings. And DFCU Bank, the only domestic listing that actually lost some value on the market, lost close to 0.18%, down to 542.0 Ugandan shillings. Now, in as far as the biggest movers are concerned, MTN Uganda traded the biggest volume, like I mentioned, over 1,436,827 shares in the second day of trading were actually traded. The day ending with the same price at 180.0 Ugandan shillings on the MTN stock. MTN stock looks to be a little bit more stagnant in the year 2023, with prices stuck at 180 shillings. The prices went up a little bit in the very early days of January, up to around 180, 183, 184, but that was just on a one-off trading, and then they went back to 180 shillings. The 1.44 million shares actually accrued a total value of close to 259 million Ugandan shillings. Now, most of these trades, of course, could be from individuals, or they could be spread out from different shareholders, but we often see these big volumes happen on certain days for the big boys in the market, such as MTN. However, now, like for this time, there was no single gain or loss on the stock price of MTN Uganda, despite the big movement. Now, MTN Uganda currently holds over 4.03 trillion Ugandan shillings, making it the currently third most valuable company on the Uganda Stock Exchange via market capitalization, with its 4.03 trillion representing close to 19.2% of the entire Uganda Securities Exchange equities market. Currently, they have over 22.4 billion shares out there floating on the exchange. And when we look at their the performance a few days ago, in 1 week, they have lost about 0.01%, quite a small figure. But like I mentioned in the first place, the stock has been stagnant. For example, looking at the graph here, their stock has been at 180 shillings since November last year. And it's a flat line almost, and that's not something we would want for a company like MTN Uganda. Of course, the company last year in the month of December made exactly 1 year on the Uganda Stock Exchange. It came as one of the most exciting initial public offers that attracted a lot of foreign and domestic attention, with the company coming on board with an electronic IPO, the one of a kind electronic IPO, and one that hasn't been seen so far yet in the Ugandan market. With the price of 200 shillings, the company got listed and was undersubscribed. Of course, these were a few of the issues that had to be addressed by the Capital Markets Authority, awareness, and try to get the public to understand, because under the UCC Act of 2020, Amendment Act of 2020, every company, every telecommunications company is supposed to list at least 20% of their stake on the Uganda Securities Exchange as per the rules. And this is exactly what pushed the company to get to list. And however, much as it was undersubscribed, later on people started getting into the company and getting, of course, onto the exchange on the main board, and getting on the secondary market was quite seamless for the company. And the company started trading very actively in the year 2022. And we saw, of course, what happened to the company stock in the year 2022. With fluctuations between 180 and 195 shillings. Now, in 2023, we haven't seen much movement. Like I've mentioned, just one-off trading where we had the price change a little bit, but nothing much really has been done at MTN to see that we go up or down, and it's a stagnant stock, like I said. Now, this is not something we can be sad about, but it's not something we can celebrate as well so far. But we are hoping, of course, things do get better along the way. In terms of trading, to be very specific, within the last quarter, in the last 3 months, dating way back from 17th of October 2022 to 17th of January 2023, that is yesterday, the company actually has a total of over 22.5 million shares that have been valued at a 4.07 billion Ugandan shillings turnover, which is also still one of the biggest on the Uganda Stock Exchange in the last 3 months. On average, they trade close to 357,000 shares for every trading session on the Uganda Stock Exchange. And that is, my friend, MTN Uganda stock there for you, the biggest movers for the day yesterday. Well, Stanbic Bank came in the second place, far off at over 35,200 shares and a volume, rather a turnover of about 739,200 Ugandan shillings on the market. The company's price was also maintained still at 21 shillings with no shifts or movements in that particular pricing. However, their current market capitalization stands at 1.07 trillion Ugandan shillings, ranking the company as the 5th most valuable on the Uganda Stock Exchange. This year we haven't seen much activity as well, and we could of course hope for more from Stanbic Bank Uganda in the year 2023. Is one of the most dedicated dividend issuers every single year. You see them, giving back to their shareholders, and one of the most profitable financial institutions we do have in the land. Interestingly, in terms of trading, Stanbic Bank is still the #1 stock at the Uganda Securities Exchange via volume. It has traded one of the biggest volumes so far in the history of the Uganda Securities Exchange. And in just 3 months, we are counting over 1.28 billion shillings turnover and 61.3 million shares. Away from Stanbic Bank Uganda Clays as well came back on board with close to 12,297 shares that were recorded on the second day of trading at the Uganda Securities Exchange. Now, the company's market capitalization currently is close to 13.5 billion Ugandan shillings. This is one of the earliest, in matter of fact, the earliest listings of the Uganda Securities Exchange, with its listing dating way back in the year 2000, just a few years after the inception of the capital markets here in Uganda. The company is the 15th most valuable stock on the exchange, with their market capitalization of over 13.5 billion Ugandan shillings, representing about 0.064% of the market. Uganda Clays has been quite silent for a while, and their stock price, when you look at the graph, has been also stagnant at 15 shillings since the month of September 2022. This was, of course, after a loss from close to 26 shillings in the months of early July, rather late June, around that time in 2022, where the stock was actually above 20 shillings. But currently at 15.0 shillings, the company is one of still the top 5 traders on the market, top 6 rather, with its stock activity coming at 6th position in terms of the most traded on stocks on the Uganda Securities Exchange in the past 3 months. We're talking about a total of just about 914,783 shares valued at 13.7 million Ugandan shillings that were traded in the past 3 months on the exchange via Uganda Clays. Umeme didn't miss out as well on this day's trading, with just about 2,000 2,600 shares. Remember yesterday, but one on Monday, the company was the biggest trader for the day with over 1.4 million shares that were recording one of the biggest turnovers we've seen in the year 2023 on a single company on the Uganda Stock Exchange. However, yesterday they had just about 2,600 shares with no change in price. This price was maintained at 300 shillings. These 260 shares, actually 2,600 shares, accrued a total of over 780,000 Ugandan shillings on the Uganda Stock Exchange. Currently, this company is the 8th most valuable on the exchange with its 487 billion Ugandan shillings market capitalization. We have about 1.62 billion shares out there for Umeme, and like I mentioned, and I'm going to keep mentioning, buy before it's too late, because we know big gains definitely are coming on Umeme. It's evident because, as I mentioned last time, when the company's stock actually hit 300 shillings, which is their highest trading price since a very good time. You're looking about a year or two ago since the company actually last traded on 300 shillings. Why? Because shareholders are seeing something, investors are eyeing something, and this is the exit of the company from Uganda, which is going to be happening on the 30th of March 2025 after their concession for a period of 20 years is going to be expiring at that particular moment. Of course, that will call for the reward of the shareholders, and this is where the gains are. My friends, do it before it's too late. It's always good to be on time when it comes to the capital markets, when it comes to trading, especially on the stock exchange. Today it's gaining, tomorrow we might see a different story. So you must be prudent, you must be careful and calculate your steps. Well, Umeme still is highly, when you look at the gains here in the last 1 month, the company has accrued over 43%, and in the last 1 week, over 7.14%, and over 50% in the last 3 months or so. Umeme also is currently still the second most traded on stock in the past 3 months, counting now over 27.5 million shares in this time, and these are valued at 6.16 billion Ugandan shillings. Away from Umeme, looking at other participants here, we did have DFCU Bank as well coming to the trading here on the second day of trading, that is yesterday. Now, DFCU Bank is currently having one of the biggest capitalizations, standing currently at over 405 billion Ugandan shillings. And this means the company is the 9th most valuable out of the 18 companies that are listed on the Uganda Securities Exchange. Now, in this period, we are seeing a very small trading in the last 3 months, with the company trading just about 5,700 shares in the past 3 months, making it the 9th most traded on stock as well on the Uganda Securities Exchange. Now, unfortunately, after yesterday's trading, the company lost 1 shillings down to 542 Ugandan shillings per share. This was from 543 shillings, which was a 0.18% loss on the company's stock. You can trust DFCU Bank, but activity is still quite low on the company compared to other listings, domestic listings, especially Stanbic Bank, Umeme, and Stanbic Bank, Umeme, as well as Uganda Clays, for example. If you can just give a comparison with these 5,000 shares, I don't think you're going to get a big value from there. But, well, we never know where it's headed in the next coming few days. Of course, this year, the financial year is coming almost to an end, just a few months now away. And that, of course, means a lot for you as a shareholder. You must get to look into your investments. What has the company done in the financial year 2022-2023? Are we looking at prosperity? Are we moving in the positive direction, or we are not? Those are questions as you, an investor, must be asking and looking out for how your companies are doing. Now, in summary, that's it from the Uganda Stock Exchange. The total value of money or the turnover on the exchange for the second day of trading was 261 million. Of course, this largely contributed to by the MTN stock. And compared with the previous day, the data showed 590% improvement in the volume. So very good volume there, trading as well on the Uganda Securities Exchange, with the market capitalization also maintaining its value at 21 trillion Ugandan shillings. Regarding the performance of the indices, the all-share index paired about 1.38 points, which was 0.1% of the exchange, and this was closing at 1,221.78 points. Now we are counting a 1 week gain of just a 1 week loss currently of about 18.44% on this index, but a 4 week gain of 1.59% and an overall year-to-date gain of 0.76%. And you know, we are just about 2 weeks into the year, so this gives you a picture of what 2023 has really started like. Strong trading there from the cross listings, especially Umeme, putting up a very good fight in this season. And of course, that also leads us to the local company index. The LCI lost about 0.01%, definitely due to companies like DFCU that lost some value, down to 274.11 points. However, due to the resilience of this index in the past few days, it's still on a 1 week gain of 0.44%. And that's the trading, my friend, from the Uganda Securities Exchange. Remember, to find out more, you can visit our website at Smart24 TV, and you can also visit the USE website to learn more on how you can buy a share, how you can be a part of this and stop being on the sidelines and you get to actually participate in the trading. You can visit www.use.org.com for more. Now let's get to Nairobi very quickly here and get to have a look at what Nairobi markets look like on their second day of trading. Now, generally speaking, the all-share index declined by 1.29 points. Now, however, 44 companies participated in the trading at the exchange, ending the day with 17 gainers and over 22 losers. Now, Olympia Capital Holdings came on top of its game at 7.53% gain, which was the biggest gain by percentage on the Nairobi Securities Exchange, ending the day with over close to 3.0 Kenyan shillings. It was followed by Flame Tree Group Holdings at 6% and Samia Africa at 5.09%. Standard Group also gained over 4.4%. Recently in Kenya, we are seeing very much more activity on the medium enterprises. Remember, we do have on the Nairobi market several segments of the markets there. We have the main investment market segment for the big companies, and these are multi-million-dollar companies. Then we have the alternate market segment for some of the medium companies there, and then the fixed income securities market segment, of course, for the treasury bonds and the treasury bills, and the growth enterprise market segment for the starting companies or the small and medium enterprises as well. Currently on the exchange, the small and medium enterprises are doing quite well compared to the big boys. They are on the Nairobi Securities Exchange. Of course, this is due to recent figures that showed that there has been a decline in the number of foreign investors on the Nairobi Stock Exchange, where of course we have known for a very long time that the Nairobi market has been dominated by foreign traders, and whenever they liquidate, definitely things have to change. Tables have to be shaken here and there. And that's exactly what we are seeing currently on the Nairobi market. Now, on the losing side, we have Flame Tree, some Liberty Kenya Holdings came out with the biggest loss of over 7.97% at exactly 5.08 Kenyan shillings closing price per share. And Uchumi Supermarket as well depreciated 4.35%, and Stanley Fahari Income Re-IT at about 3.43%. That was lost as well. Sanlam Kenya lost 2.65%, and Kenya Power and Lighting Company recorded the biggest volume for the day, about 7.13 million shares there that were traded, followed by Safaricom. Safaricom seems to be as well backtracking a little bit, and Kenya Power and Lighting Company and Equity Group Holdings seem to be getting into that space of the trading, and definitely they're becoming very key interests for the shareholders or different investors on the Nairobi Securities Exchange. KCB as well recorded 1.15 million shares, and Cooperative Bank of Kenya over 247,900 shares. These were the biggest movers for the day. Now, regarding the performance of the NSE market indices, the all-share index, which is the benchmark, lost close to about 1.29 points, down to about 120.67 points, representing now a one-week loss of about 3.88%. Other remarkable indices include the NSE 20 losing over 0.33%, and the NSE 25 losing of about 0.68%. Now, elsewhere in Africa, just getting to look at the indices, Zimbabwe Stock Exchange lost over 301.02 points on their benchmark index, and down, but still around between 20,000 and 30,000 points. And the Nigeria Stock Exchange, on the other hand, appreciated by 352 points on their benchmark index, whereas the Johannesburg Stock Exchange appreciated as well by over 247.88 points. Now let's get to cross over to the US stock market and have a look at what transpired on the second day of trading. Of course, remember, we are also looking into the earnings season, and that's very, very important. If you're an enthusiast for the US stocks, you know it. Definitely, this is the time when all investors have their hands on deck. Now, stocks fell as Wall Street's big banks report profit drops. Now, US stocks fell Tuesday morning as a shortened but busy week packed with corporate earnings got underway on Wall Street. The Dow Jones Industrial Average, which tracks top 30 companies there on the United States New York Stock Exchange, shed off over 350 points, which is about 1%, weighed down by the bank stocks after Goldman Sachs posted its largest earnings miss in a decade. And the S&P 500 and the tech-heavy Nasdaq Composite each slipped by about 0.2%. There you have it, my friend. Thank you so much for watching Smart24 TV and for staying tuned. More, of course, is coming your way. Remember to follow us on Twitter at Smart24 TV and at Anthony Sebale. That's my personal handle. I'll catch you tomorrow, same time, same place. Bye for now.